Hello guys, and welcome to another replay analysis with me, ViBE, with Liminally. Liminally, this is Diamond, correct me if I'm wrong, tell me what league you are again. I think it might be Diamond. I can't remember already, you might have said it. But, we'll get that in a second, that information will be in a second. Plat 1, okay, it's Platinum 1. ZvP Platinum 1. Let's do this, guys. We're going to be helping Liminally with anything he may or may not be doing correct or incorrect. Making it better, giving him some ideas on how to play the matchup in a way that would make sense. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. 16 hatch is very good. I like it. It's good shit. That way you don't get blocked by that little a-hole right there. Everyone hates that guy. Probius. The biggest D-bag on the server. I like your Overlord positioning. I like your Overlord's pathing. You're going for a speedling expand, it looks like, which is fine. That third base is very early. Too early for a speedling expand. Take your third base around 30. You're going to have to cut... You're guaranteed the only way you take this is if you don't spend your larva. I mean, your gas wasn't super early. It looks like you actually went pool before gas. You totally did. Because you only have mined 32 so far. So, I mean, that's a little bit more of an advantage for you. Because you don't have the expense of... the speed as early, and you also mine minerals a little longer. So, I mean, it's not the worst that your drone's already over here. You can probably take it pretty early. But you will have larva. Your larva should be the priority, though. I would say you sent your drone a little too early. I would have liked to have sent your drone over here at like 28 instead of 26. That way you could spend your larva immediately and then take your third. I would have said 30 would have been appropriate if you went gas before pool. But, yeah, 20, it's okay. It's not the worst. Okay, well, okay, wait. You're doing this like how I tell people to do it in ZVT. You don't need to do this in ZVP. You do not need to do this in ZVP. The reason why is because, the reason why you do this in ZVT is because you can build a Reaper off of, like, what the gateway would be. It would be like him building a Zealot. That's a Reaper, literally. In ZVP, though, he's got to build a core, which is not even, it's still not even done yet, until he can build an Adept or a Stalker, which is what he really wants to walk across the map with. So the fact that you're hiding a drone behind the mineral line doesn't make any sense. You don't need to worry about it. It's not going to really... There's nothing that's going to fuck you over here. The only thing that really would fuck you over here would be like a probe. That would be like, pylon here. Which then you could just take a different base if you really wanted to take one. Yeah. I don't... yeah, I don't like the probe hide or the drone hiding very much. I do like that you're focusing on larva, though. You should be. Yeah, you don't need to do that. Just literally send your drone against Protoss and Zerg. Send your drone immediately to the third when you want to take your third and just take it. You only have to do that trick where you hide it against Terran only, because the Reaper is the only thing in the game that works that way. Okay. So he's making stalkers. You know he made one so far if you were paying attention to it. Even if you didn't pay attention to it, I don't really care that much. But I mean, you'll find out in a minute when he harasses you. But for now, I think even though he didn't... Okay, your layer is way too early. I don't understand this layer. We'll come back to that. Even though he's going for a stalker really early, I would say you don't need to make more lings. Maybe make like always make like an initial 2 to 4 just for scout purposes. And denying an adept if an adept possibly gets made first. And you could make it like now, for instance. Just like how the stalkers just came out. You could make lings now in case it was a Reaper. Or I mean, in case it was an adept. It's similar to like Reaper defense, but you just make lings a little later. Because again, you have to wait. The Protoss has to wait for the core to finish to make the unit. which is why the delayed lings would make sense. But yeah, like you could literally let that stalker shoot you and your queen and start making lings as a reaction to that and not even give a shit. I really don't like your build so far. You said this is a version of beta GM, correct? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go back and watch your build very closely. I was really stuck on the fact that you were going to go speedlings. I want to see your opener. How early do you build your shit? I like your natural. 18. Okay, your build's fine. I take it back. Your build looks very weird. The only thing I don't like about your build is your drone that went over here. That was bad. I don't mind that you take... I literally don't mind that you take a third really fast. I don't mind that at all. But I don't like that you ripped your drone off your mineral line way too early and just had it sit over there for a while, and then you build your hatchery. Like, this drone could have mined probably like 30 more minerals by itself instead of sitting here for a while. It sits there literally for like a while. And then you take your third. Like, a drone could have totally mined some more minerals for a bit, and then you could have took it off your natural and sent it to your third at like 30 and been spending all your larva, and yeah, you would have been good. That's the only thing I don't like so far. Now, with the expense of this is going to delay your layer, and it's going to delay your queen over here, as long as you still spend your larva. So now this is where I don't like your build again. This is fucking expensive at this point in time. This is okay to do, but there's got to be a trade-off. This is the same exact cost as a layer and a queen, and the normal build goes for a layer and a queen the second your first two queens are out. So layer and queen is the same exact cost as a third hatchery, but you're going for a third hatchery and a layer. So what's happening now? You're double dipping into the costs, and what's the trade-off? You're not spending your larva. You got 2 and 2 larvae on both hatcheries. That's fucking bad. And you have not... It's not because you injected or anything. It's because you just did not be able to... You saved money for the last, like, 20 seconds to be able to spend this and this. So I don't like that at all. What I think you should have done is you could have taken your layer. You could have delayed... Or sorry, you could have taken your third, like you did. You could have delayed your layer just a little bit. Spent your larva, then made your layer. Then made your queen. The trade-off could have been a little bit of a greedier third, but a little bit of a later tech. You now spent your larva, you're getting it down. I don't like this either. You make a creep tumor next, right? I don't like that. If you're going to go for a third base like this, inject it the whole fucking time. And the reason why is this. You're not going speedlings. If he comes over here with fucking units, just because you put a creep tumor down, does that mean you're going to suddenly save that base with slow fucking lings? You don't even want to be making slow lings. You want to avoid that at all costs if you can. So best case scenario for you would be he actually does show up and he starts poking this hatchery while you just get away with making a roach warren and making drones still. So this creep tumor makes no sense because you don't have speedlings. If you did have speedlings and your defense was instead going to be queen ling, I would have agreed with it. But it's not. It's beta GM like roaches, so it should be injects nonstop. Your larva is getting high again. You gotta just know this. Larva is always the priority. This number should never be high. If this number is ever getting high, if this number is ever above like 1 per hatchery, and an inject is not currently just popping off your hatchery, that's very bad. You have 10 seconds to react to spinning your larva. 10 seconds. And the fact that you have 5 larvae means you have not built a larva on these hatcheries for a while. Like, you might have a larva left carried over from the larva inject, but this is 2 larvae again, and now there's 1 larva here because this hatchery just finished. This one's okay. But if you have multiple larvae here, it needs to be spent. And I would say the only reason why it might not be spent is because you don't have enough money for it, but you do have enough money for it. So, and there's nothing happening right now. Like, nothing is going on. So it's not really acceptable. It's very painful for you. It makes a world of difference. Got to make sure you really stay on top of that. It is huge. I can't stress how big that is. And then when you spend all 5 at once, it's nice that you did that, but still, like, the fact that it gets up to that point is not great. So you're doing it better now. Then a larva inject just popped off. It did just pop off. You're spinning it as you did it. Kinda. Now you're blocked. You're making overlord, I assume. You're making 3. Oof. God, that was a lot of damage right there. Okay. So now I will say this, okay? So your build right now is super greedy. It's super, super, super greedy. And you scouted. I don't really want you to be too crazy on what you scout, but I'll say this. You scouted a guy who went double gate opener. Double gate. That is not normal for PvZ. I'm just going to throw that out there. No one goes fucking double gate openers in PvZ. And this gateway right here, by the way, isn't even doing anything wall-wise. Like, if you break the rocks, it'll do something wall-wise. But this gateway, in terms of this wall right here, it does literally nothing. Now, with that being said, he still made 2 gates before the core was even done. If you see 2 gates before the core is even done, that is a double gateway opener. That means that this dude is probably going to delay his tech a little bit because he's going to focus on extra production for a little bit longer. Like making multiple stalkers and delaying whatever the fuck he's going to make, a Twilight Council or whatever. Just by a little bit. Like this timing he's doing is going to hit you very late. He's doing a DT drop is what it looks like. And it's going to be very fucking late because he opened double gateway. It's incorrect. He should be opening up single gateway, getting a council, then adding on more gateways. Now, my recommendation for you as a result of that would be maybe in the future, once you have a good amount of drones, we're talking like 50 drones or so, or like 40, 50 drones, somewhere in that range, maybe make like 6 to 8 roaches, maybe like 6 roaches, just a little bit of roaches. So because this is aggressive and you're extra greedy. So the fact that he showed up with 2 adepts is like expected, is what I would say. It'd be like you opening up with like 1 base speedling and then expanding after you got speed. And then the Protoss is like, I'm going to go 3 Nexus really fast. Like the builds don't really line up properly. Like you should have taken damage because you didn't react to it at all. Like you just went super hyper greed. So if you're gonna play against Protoss, you're gonna play excessively greedy like this, just make a couple roaches would be my recommendation. And make it before the adept shows up, because you should expect it to happen, especially after a double gateway opener. I hope that makes sense. This is not normal. This is fucking aggro, is what it is. Super aggro. Also, your creep spread is a bit underwhelming. Do you have a 4th queen? No. So always as well, make a 4th queen. Always make a 4th queen. 3 queens for 2 bases, and then you have the queen that's the extra queen eventually goes to inject, but you make a 4th queen as well. Always make 4 queens. And because you should totally have a queen dropping creep around your base right now. The fact that you have no creep going down here, and you have no creep going down here, and no creep going down here, and it's so close to your base, that is so scary. That is fucking so scary. Because out of nowhere, for all you know, 2 more adepts could be literally, they could walk right here. And they could immediately, right when they get here, they could shade this way. And they could just walk over here behind the middle line and poke like 3 drones. Your roaches react to it as soon as you hear, our drones are under attack. And then as soon as you send your roaches down, adepts just teleport out and he gets like 3 free drones. And he does the same thing like right over here. As soon as he gets to like right here, he teleports his adepts backwards. He walks over here, pokes like 1 or 2 drones on your gas, gets out again. You know what I mean? Like that sucks ass. Like, you definitely need more creep spread. For sure, if you can help it. The fact that you haven't spread any creep at all is very not the greatest for you. I need to learn scouting for toss. Well, you're not doing any of it. So, scouting for toss is... You could do multiple things that'll help you here. Number one, you could send your overlord into his base deeper, okay? Deeper into his base right away. Instead of going here and then back to here, you could go deeper and see what you see. You could, have a good night, Homai. You could have a second overlord over here. And you could follow up a scout later with that one. A big thing about Protoss that gives you reads on what the fuck is happening. I feel like people who don't understand Protoss and don't know what's going on is they don't ever try to find out the order of what Protoss does. Like, if I ask you the question of, this guy's got a gateway, robo, council, dark shrine. What order did you build these in? Could you tell me that? Like, you don't have to actually tell me that. It's just a rhetorical question. But what it would be is, if you can tell me, oh yeah, I know it's gateway core, council, robo, dark shrine, gateway, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. That's a good build. Like, and what does that mean? It means he's gonna go DT drops. At 100% means he's gonna go for 4 gates, which is the exact amount of supply that can fit inside of a warp prism. A warp prism can hold 8 supply. 8 supply. Or 6 supply if a Colossus is inside of it. But it can hold 4 Zealots, 4 Sentries, 4 Stalkers, 4 DTs. Each one of those things costs 2 supply apiece. So, 8 supply in that prism, 4 gateways, can make 4 DTs, can fill up that prism entirely. So you should, like, just by knowing the order of the fact that he went for... If you would have saw in his base, okay? If you would have had an Overlord go into his base, and let's say your Overlord dies right as you see a Twilight Council, and then you have another Overlord over here or something, and you see, oh, look, a Robo. You could already know what he's doing just by seeing the Robo. Be like, oh, he rushed a Council, and now he's got a Robo. He's going to do some type of Council Prism pressure. And how do you deal with this? With Beta GM style, just make roaches, and just in case, make 1 Overseer. And now, you're great. All you need then is creep spread, because then you can see where it's coming from. And if you see a prism by itself, what do you think it's going to be? It's going to be fucking DTs, because that's the only thing that would make sense with that. If you see a prism with a bunch of adepts escorting it, what do you think it's going to be? It's resonating glaives. If you see a prism with a bunch of zealots escorting it, what's it going to be? It's charge a lot all in. If you see a prism with a bunch of stalkers escorting it, what's it going to be? It's blink. You don't even need to know it's a dark shrine to know that roaches and an overseer would keep you safe from all of this. Would you drop spores? Is that a good idea? Not for a Beta GM build, because you already have access to overseers, so it's redundant and you don't need it at this stage right away. You would only need spores if it was a Protoss player who's going to go double prism, and he's fucking platinum, so my guess would be no on the double prism. I don't think he'll do that.
Under attack.
You're giving yourself like no information. Like, you're scouting the natural, because like I agree. Here's what I think. Okay, this is ultimately what I think. This is why it's really hard to teach people StarCraft sometimes. I don't think you should give a fuck about what his build is. I really don't think you should even give a shit. Because you're doing Beta GM. And Beta GM can literally handle everything because you out-macro it. At this stage of the game. At Platinum level. You shouldn't worry about what the fuck he has. I do think you'll eventually have to worry once you become a higher level player. But I think that if your build was just like it's not even bad right now either, is the thing. You still have 67 drones at 6 minutes and 9 seconds, and you still lost 5 fucking workers. That's not bad at all. Dude, you're like, your macro wise is fine. Your creep spread sucks absolute dick. But your macro is not bad. That's actually, it's fine. That's definitely above platinum level. considering you took damage and you still have 67 drones at 6 minutes and 9 seconds. We'll go back to 6 minutes exactly and see your drone count exactly at 6. My quota here is 66 drones at 6 minutes. If you can do that, you can easily get Diamond League. You have 67 at 6 minutes. You are fucking crushing it. Like, and I know you obviously have 58 right here, but you've already made the drones. You've already started construction of the next round. So you're going to have 67 at 6 minutes. You're above platinum level for your overall upkeep of your build. Your ramp up. Your creep spread is of silver level. And creep spread in itself is indirect scouting. Because if you can... Here's the thing about creep spread. It's scouting in itself. It's called... I would call it indirect scouting. Because you're not actually scouting him with creep. But because you see he's not on creep, you know he's not there. It's indirect scouting. And the more creep you have, the more you can take away where he isn't. So it rules down smaller and smaller to where he is. And it makes it easier to know where you're looking for whatever the fuck he's doing. And if you have no creep spread, for all you fucking know, he could be down here at the bottom side of the map, ready to do a sentry timing to you or something. Like he could just show up and you're like, oh, I'm dead. You know what I mean? Like, not having creep is awful. It's it puts a lot of pressure on you as to you being like, I don't know what's happening right now, shit. Always have your overseer. You scouted with an overseer. Okay. I don't like that. If you scout with it, I don't mind that you scouted with an overseer, but if you're going to scout with an overseer, make another one. Make that a rule of yours. Literally, make that a fucking rule. If you don't scout at your opponent, assume that this is a possibility, and if you're going to have an overseer, always leave it defensive, and if you want to make another overseer to scout him with, that's okay. You're going to take so much damage to these DTs, I can already tell, because you didn't react properly with the detection. That's it. Your detection was fucked. When should I start my tumors, if not after my first inject? With your third queen. You're... Liminally, you know what your biggest problem is? You're taking Zerg versus Terran and Zerg versus Protoss and going like this. You're mixing the two of them together. Because you're missing concepts. Going for an early tumor from your natural to your third makes sense if you're going to go for speedlings. Do you know why? Do you understand what I mean? It's because you can make lings to react to that, and the creep will help you kill whatever's attacking you. And queens will be there too to help you. Because ling styles usually have more queens as well. Just in general. Usually. Especially against Terran. Like, always against Terran. Now, if you're going for roaches and you're skipping Zergling speed, and you have a creep tumor here that goes to your third base, and you get attacked by something early from Protoss, what are you going to do if you get attacked? What would you have done if two stalkers showed up here and started hitting your hatchery before you even had a roach warren? Would you have made slow lings? Yes? You should not. It's garbage. You should just make the roach warren. There's no reason to make slow lings there. Slow lings suck balls. Slow lings are the fucking worst. Toxic Timo, don't be so toxic, okay? I commend Liminally for putting a replay up here. Now, I know I might be sounding really critical here, but I'm just trying to... I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm being a dick here. I'm just trying to make it, make him think about the game. I mean, dude, he could... I think Liminally could easily get out of Platinum if he fixed a few things about his build. But his... Again, like I said before, you're mixing ZVT and ZvP together in a weird way. Like, your really fast third is really greedy. And I don't mind that you did it, because he expanded. I don't mind. It's fucking risky, but at the same time, like, if he shows up with units to attack you, you should not be making slow links to defend that. You should just make fucking roaches and drones. But yeah. Here's my honest opinion, okay? This is my honest opinion. If the game... this is a serious recommendation. If the game feels too confusing right now... If the game feels too confusing... Just do my BetaGM ZvP build. Which is 2 base roaches into a third later. The fact that you took a third, like you hid the drone, you took a third super fast, that is so fucking indicative of a speedling opener. And how early it was. And the creep tumor and the drone and the timing of the third, that is very speedlingy opener. But then you teched really fast and you're doing a BetaGM style. And again, like, even though it's risky and like it's like doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you still were fine up until this point right now, because you totally neglected fucking the potential of DTs. Let's just watch how much damage they do.
Our drones are under attack. Our forces are under attack. Our drones are under attack. Our forces are under attack. Our drones are under attack. Our drones are under attack.
Oof. Yeah, no, that wouldn't have happened at all if you just had an overseer sitting with your army. Because watch how he engaged your army. You just lost so many fucking drones, though. You, like, lost the game right there. Look how he engages you. He drops all of his DTs, all 3 of them, on your roaches. If you had an overseer that was just with your roaches, and you had it in the middle of your base, like if your roaches were right here in the middle of your base, and he comes up here, you could go there really quickly. If he comes over here, you could go here really quickly. Either base he goes to, you could go there really fast. You just need an overseer. You should always have an overseer. Always have an overseer. Watch him drop every fucking DT. You would have killed one instantly. And then you would have killed the next one pretty fast after. This many roaches can like one-shot a DT. You would have killed these DTs so easy. He probably wouldn't have unloaded them if he saw an overseer. He probably would have flew away, honestly. He probably would have been like, ah, fuck, detection. Okay, let's get out of here. Because if he did drop them, he would have lost all of them. That's so much damage that you just took right here from just a couple of DTs. And then that's because you got so distracted. Because you're like, oh, fuck, I can't see it. So you run your drones, you run these drones, and you run these drones because he makes zealots here. But then this one DT kills like 33 drones in your natural. It's fucking brutal. Yeah. Just, again, if you don't know what Protoss is doing, assume that every possibility exists. You need to start thinking about StarCraft 2 in this term, okay? In these terms. If you don't know what your Protoss opponent is doing, they could do anything. So what is one of the best ways to deal with the possibility of them doing anything? Roaches are a really good fucking start because they're really good at early game defense in a lot of ways. You can make some Ravagers and suddenly all types of sentry builds are ruled out. Roaches kind of rule out Stalker, Zealot, Sentry as well. Fucking Adept. DT or Templar builds. Robo builds. You can even make roaches. You can even argue that roaches are even good against Stargate builds because you can just counterattack his base and go wipe out his third. Like, roaches are fucking solid early game units, especially if your opponent gets out macroed, which is you're definitely out you are fucking 100% out macroing this guy. 100%. An overseer would have saved me the game. Yes, you're multitasking. I'm going to say it right now. Your macro was fine. Your multitasking was abysmal here. It was really bad. But if you had an overseer, you wouldn't have had to multitask. You could have literally fought one thing at a time because you would have literally just eliminated the DTs. If an overseer was here, you would have killed these DTs in all of 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And then it's over. And look how long 3 seconds takes to go by. They'd be dead. 2 of the DTs would be dead right now. And then you'd go chase the third one. That's another, like, 2 seconds right there. That DT would be dead. I thought I had an overseer. Maybe you killed it. No, you scouted with it. You flew it across the map to drop changelings. And that's why I was saying earlier, if you're going to make an overseer and you want to scout his base with it, make 2 overseers and leave one at your base defensively and have one go to his base aggressively. Because if you don't know what he's doing, this is a possibility. And if you just don't have detection, look at how much damage, like, again, we just saw it, but look how much damage you take from this. Look at the resources lost up top. This is ridiculous. You just get fucking ass fucked right now. Okay, sorry, I'm getting a little vulgar here. You get destroyed. Look at that. You just lost 47 drones. That's not okay. You lost like a queen. You lost 2 queens. You lost 47 drones. And you lost a couple of other units. Like a roach or something here and there. It's just 47. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Okay. Hey, you still hold. See, that's my point. Roaches are really good. Roaches are easy as hell. They get the job done. But here's the thing: is you're making roaches now because you're stuck on defense, but you don't have a good saturation anymore because you can't. You're 26 drones down from what you want to be at ideally 2 minutes ago, which you were at. You had very horrible defense up to this point. Like that's not something that's like, it's still a good game. Like that's very easily fixable. What just happened there for you? You were a better player than this guy in terms of the build up to 6 minutes, and then you just fell apart. The gas emphasis I don't agree with at all. You need to be building drones right now. Because you just killed his army again, you need to be building drones, and you need to be resaturating your bases as fast as you can, and not worrying about gas at your 4th base. And you really need to fucking spread creep. Dude, your creep sucks ass. It's so bad. Please work on that, because there is a level of panic that players have where they're like, oh god, an attack, and they just fall apart because you panic and everything just sucks. And I will 100% say your defense was very panicky and very shitty. And that first DT attack that killed 47 drones. If you just have some fucking creep spread, if you just have a little bit of creep spread, suddenly the panic goes away so much because you know where he is and you can see what's happening before it happens. So you can literally mentally prepare for it, and then you prepare for it physically, and then you deal with it, and then it's over. It's not just like the process of this happens at a comfortable pace. It's like, okay. All right, I can deal with this shit. It's not like when he shows up at your base, you're just like, what the fuck, DTs? Oh shit, run my drones. Oh god, everything's dying. Oh, zealots are killing my main. Where it's just like everything has to be reacted to within 1 second or 2 seconds. Because you're just like, oh fuck, everything's falling apart. You really, really, really need creep spread. I will say this. Your creep spread, that's the first time I've seen that tumor get spread since like 2.5 minutes. It's spreading right now. That's the first time that thing is spread. At 9 minutes. You're not going to get out of silver with creep spread like this. Or, sorry, of platinum. No, it's not silver. This is like silver creep spread. It literally is. You are not going to get out of platinum with creep like this. You are not ever going to get into masters with creep like this. You will never be GM with creep like this. This is your biggest weakness, is your creep. Your creep sucks. Thank you for spreading it now. You need to definitely do it a lot earlier. You should make 4 queens. You should have had 4 queens around the time when you only had like 45 drones. Like you make 2 queens, then you make a 3rd queen right away, right after, and then you make a 4th queen after if you're going to go for a fast 3rd. Like you start a 4th queen right after your 3rd queen. Because so that 3rd queen can go eject and the 4th queen can continue to spread creep. You should be spreading creep like the whole time once you have creep queens. This is like unacceptable. And now you're having the problems if you're not spending your larva as much, so which is why your money is getting ridiculously high.
Mineral field depleted.
And if you don't spend your larva, we had this discussion the other day. The less you spend your larva, the more it fucks your larva, because there are 2 sides to larva generation. One is automated hatchery larva generation, and the other is injecting larva. And if they're both done perfectly, they both generate the same amount of larva. They both give 50% of your larva. So the fact that you can't spend your larva means you are losing the 50% of total larva income because you can't generate automated larva anymore because you're capping out on your hatcheries. On some of them, at least. You're capping out on more of them now. You have 18 fucking larva. There we go. You see, like, if you had creep outside your base at all, you would see this. I mean, you saw it with the Zenlaga at least. But you could see this kind of a timing happening so early. So what are you doing production-wise? You're making hydras. Good. You're making army. You have a decent drone count again. You're at 85. I love it. You're out macroing this guy. Watch your larva during this fight. Watch your larva. You're spinning it. That's good. You are starting to lose the game though. And the reason why you're starting to lose the game is because your guys' supplies are actually very, very similar. And it's actually scary in that regard. Because, think about it like this. You have more drones than he does. But you just... Here's the thing. You have more drones than he does. This is where I feel like a lot of people will be like, it doesn't make any sense. But I'm going to try and make it make sense. You have 85 drones. He has 70 probes. You have... For every second that goes by in this game, you're going to get further ahead because you have a better economy. But you just got there because, again, you've lost 48 drones up to this point. And you also spent the last minute of this game saturating this base. You just saturated this base. Which is a lot of your recent larva has been invested into this. Because you were recovering from that fucking massive damage you took earlier in the game. Which was like kind of unacceptable. It was way too much damage that you took. All because you didn't have an overseer, literally. Not even kidding. Now, because you've been recovering, and you have recovered, you are still not maxed though at 11 minutes, and the Protoss player is getting pretty close to your supply. And think about it like this. You have 90 army supply, realistically, because you also have a bunch of drones. He has 83 army supply. That is kind of fucked for you. That is bad. Because he has better units than you in the form of he has higher tech stuff like immortals. He has DTs. And these things are, like, DTs aren't the most crazy, but they're really good when they're combined with zealots, because if zealots are tanking for the DTs, DTs actually do just as much damage as immortals do to roaches. They do almost exactly the same. It's very close. One does 50, one does 55. It's a lot of damage. That's my point. DTs hit hard as hell. He's got very, very powerful units mixed into his army. You do not have very powerful units mixed into yours. But that's the point of Roach Hydra. The point of Roach Hydra is you should have like 100 army supply when your opponent only has like 60. Like you have a massive lead. You do not have a massive lead. You have a 7 supply lead. And 7 supply is literally 3.5 roaches. That is not good. You're almost tied. That's not good. That means your army is going to probably suffer in this fight. That is why you lost this fight. You were too close to him in supply. At this stage now. And then also, here's the other thing too. He warped in another round of zealots out of all of his gateways just now, which is actually 16 supply. Yeah. So you started off this fight 7 supply up, and he warped in during that fight 16 supply. You did not, like, you're building units, but they're not here yet, like his are, because he builds units instantly with a prism. You have to wait for yours to spawn. So if we really, really think about this, look at this. Watch this. This is even more crazy. Your army right now, we'll include these because they're about to be here. Your army right now, okay? 16 roaches. That's 32 supply. And 8 plus 5. You got 13 hydras, which is 26 supply. So you have 32 and 26 supply, which is 58. You have 58. You literally have 58 supply. Oh, you have 60 if you include the queen. We'll just say 60. You have 60 supply in this fight. 60. That is what you have here right now. 60 supply. Not fucking 90, because you have a bunch of units in production. You have 9 hydras in production, and you have other queens that are over here not helping. Okay? But now look at him. Look at what Protoss has. This immortal. All these immortals count. That's 16 supply right there. Just 16 for the immortals. Zealots. That's now, that's 12 zealots. That's 24 supply. That's 6 stalkers. That's 12 supply. Or wait, what? That's 6. Yeah, that's 12. That's 24 supply of zealots, and that's 12 supply of stalker. And then he has, how many DTs does he fucking have? He's got 8 DTs. Okay, so if we add all these up, what is that? 16 for DT. I'm just gonna do it in my head or whatever. You got 16 for immortal, 16 for DT. That's 32 already. Then zealots were 24. That's 56. And then that's 12 on the stalker. That's 68. He's got 68 supply. Oh, he's actually got 70 because he's got a prism here. He's got 70 fucking supply. He's actually got 10 more supply than you do in this fight right now. Yo, Chibi, thank you very much for the raid. What up, guys? Doing a replay analysis. Hello, everybody. How you doing? I'm teaching people how to play StarCraft. What up, guys? Thank you, thank you. Hope your stream was great. Hell yeah. Yo, bro, he's got 10 more supply than you right here. Lemon. He's got 10 more supply than you in this fight right now. That's why you got destroyed here. So you actually had a supply disadvantage. That's why you got destroyed. And this supply disadvantage comes from the fact that you're maxing out like 2 minutes later than you should. Because you took so much damage from the earlier prism. I hope that makes sense. That is literally why you lost. That's why you lost, boy. That's why you lost. Jim Rising is gay, and he's my boyfriend. Nice, dude. Jim Rising is a great catch. You're gonna die now. You're dead, Lemon. It's over. GSL was great. I didn't actually get to see it, but my boy Special was playing. I hope he won in the end. I know he was in the final match. Yeah, now all this Protoss has to do is run you over at this point, and you're just gonna die. And you're dead. It was just like a cascading effect. You had such a lead over this guy early on, and you just... That first setback put you in a hard spot, and then you actually had deficits when he took the fight with you after that. I'm going to tell you right now, if you saturate 3 bases fully, and a 4, or not even 4, a 3 Dark Templar Warp Prism shows up at your base, and he kills 47 drones with that, that is not good. That's definitely game losing right there. And yeah, I could see why you lost. Biggest recommendation I can give you is always have an overseer defensively, no matter what, if you don't know what they're doing. That way you can kill observers as well that try to kill your creep. It's great for that too, because you have queens kill observers, and you can also deny scouting like that. And you're also safe against DTs. And then also spread your creep. You really need better creep. Those two, if you fix those 2 things, the rest of your build is not that bad. You're actually macro way better than platinum. You're very easily diamond level with your macro. Your creep needs to be improved. Much to be desired there. And always have an overseer with your army as soon as you... with this kind of a playstyle, always have an overseer with your army, especially against Protoss. Because DTs are actually pretty common. And yeah, man, that'll help you a lot. I think that'll definitely fix a lot of your issues right now. I think it'll fix a lot of your issues. And I saw you say, can you make me a build vibe and I'll pay you more for it? You don't got to pay me more. I don't want to make you a build either. But I'm going to tell you something. Just go literally watch some of the BetaGM replay packs. Watch like a ZvP. And the build is right there. Just do that build. If you want to like reinvent it and make it really clean, use that. You're a little deviated from it. You went extra greedy this game. With the, like again, because you're merging 2 different builds at once. But it wasn't that bad. You still had a nice saturation at a nice time. But if you want a safer version of it, go watch the whatever it's called. The BetaGM stuff. And you're good. Chibi wants coaching. I coach all the time. I'm a great... Guys, I have positive reviews all over the place. Everyone's like, I am not a paid actor. I was Silver 1 when I met ViBE, and now he got me to Masters 2. Thank you, ViBE. Not paid actors, guys. Real people. Real results. All right. Thank you guys for watching. That's going to be the end of that replay analysis. Much love. Good luck to all of you as well. Anyone who's trying to, perfect what you're doing as well. I hope this helped. And I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, take it easy. Good luck in your ladder games and peace out.